Hey everyone, Wanderbots here, and welcome back to Zombie Time. Yeah. See, the one thing I'm not quite sure about are these, like, weird bug things, because they seem like they would be much more appropriate in the forest. You know?
I suppose so. Unless, because they're not maggoty.
Yeah, they're not maggoty. They're not... Whoa, I'm low on health, and I don't have food equipped. Why doesn't it just automatically equip the next best thing? Ooh, pork with rice wrapped in a fresh leaf of lettuce. That
hey,
sounds tasty.
I can make that.
Oh, we should try it. Alright, I'm gonna switch back to a little bit more chaotic magic that can randomly just blast everything.
Didn't I make something similar to that? I made the rice and ground beef made in sauce wrapped with lettuce leaves.
Yeah, you did.
It ended up being a mush, though, because I didn't have enough lettuce leaves to make them into wraps.
I'll be quite honest, I'm not that keen on stuff wrapped in lettuce. Oh, those are the maggots.
Oh, but have you ever... I really like the lettuce wraps at P.F. Chang's, though.
I don't like P.F. Chang's that much.
Yeah, actually, I think we've come to the conclusion that when it comes to Chinese food, Japanese food, and Thai food is our number one. And we wouldn't prefer the other two varieties over it.
Yeah, like, my problem with Chinese food is it always gives me, like, weird indigestion.
It's always very salty and fried to me.
I think part of that is actually just Americanized Chinese food.
Probably.
Like, we're raised to believe that that's what it actually tastes like, whereas I'd be willing to believe that...
Oh, my father has a giant Chinese cookbook. And yeah, there are a lot of recipes that do find their way into the United States. Like, there will always be dumplings, there will always be Peking duck, several other types of soups and whatnot. But there are actually a lot of dishes that I'd never ever seen before. And they didn't look like they would require as much sodium. Or sauce, for that matter.
Yeah. And I think the thing is, it's like, well...
It was interesting to see the differences between the regions, though, because they divided it between north, south, east, and west.
Well, yeah, China's...
Vast.
I think it's the largest country in the world. It's got the highest population. Unless India beats it out, because those two are pretty darn close.
Highest population, but I think Russia is largest.
Oh, by landmass. Yeah, but... I'll admit...
We were talking about region. I was talking about north, south, east, west.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I'm just thinking, like, Russia may be larger, but...
Everyone's concentrated in very specific places.
Yeah, because Siberia is largely unlivable.
Mm-hmm. No, but it was interesting seeing the differences, because the east and the south definitely had a lot more rice, noodles, dumplings, vegetables, and the like, fruit.
Yeah.
Whereas the north and the west had a lot of fried meats.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, you look at American food and it's crazy varied in very similar manners. Like, I'm serious. Southern food? Southern food is completely different, very fried.
Well, that's because it has some of its roots from, oh, I suppose you'd have the French and the Spanish. Unless, because there's the South that's associated with Louisiana and Florida and...
Yeah, Louisiana has its own flavor.
Well, that's because of the French Creole kind of thing.
And then you get, I mean, Minnesotan food is very Scandinavian in origin. New Mexico, of course, is very Hispanic in origin in a lot of cases. But not wholly so. Like,
so would New England be more
fish.
Dutch and British?
Sort of. The thing is, anything Bostonian related is going to be, like, crazy varied. Because the thing is, that was practically the heart of the nation at its founding. So it's the largest and most varied population. Though you're going to get a very high Irish and Italian background in a lot of its food.
Italian I would associate more with New York City.
Boston had serious issues with the Italians and the Irish, especially during the...
Issues? You mean like gang issues?
Yep, oh yeah. You don't really think of gangs and that sort of thing in Boston specifically, but the North End was very... I believe the North End was supposed to be very Italian, and the Southies were Irish. There's actually still a little bit of enmity between the two groups, but it's largely kind of disappeared over time because other groups have taken precedence and or...
Hello again.
It was actually interesting when my grandmother died, and she lived in Yonkers, and we had to clear out her house and such. It turned out that her neighbor wanted to buy the house, and I think worked out a deal with my aunt's dealer to realtor in order to acquire it, but it was going to go to her brother or something, so the whole neighborhood was slowly becoming Irish.
Yep. It's not uncommon in cities like that, because...
Well, I wonder, maybe it's just close-knit familial groups that decide, hey, let's buy a whole neighborhood.
Well, there are whole neighborhoods of, like, extremely Jewish people in New York that actually...
Well, Brighton,
yeah,
which is nearby.
Well, but, like, New York City, there's a specific section of New York City that, I'm not going to say is, like, its own colony or anything like that, but... The police largely don't go there because they have their own police force and way of doing things.
Is it like the neighborhood watch?
Yeah, but it's a bunch of extremely Hasidic Jews that is so, like, tight-knit and honestly a little bit screwed up.
Uh-oh.
That...
It's another ghost.
Oh, yep. It's another race. Oh, that was probably treasure back there. Nope, never mind, that was just a shortcut.
That was just an escape route.
My wall chicken. You ain't taking away my wall chicken. Yeah, this is actually legitimately freaky. I would love to play a 2D platformer horror type game. Out of my face. Honestly, he's not that scary considering I can dodge roll through, like, everything. But
I know, but the music mixed with the strobing?
Yeah, no, it is freaky. I wonder who he's supposed to be at. I really hope we actually get... Oh, man.
Oh, you need a bomb.
Yep. Wall chicken. This is really doing wonders for my stocks of wall chicken. Too bad at this point it's barely a healing item. Nope, wall chicken. Wall chicken. Save me, wall chicken. Save me. Alright, we're almost there. We should play we should play Amnesia at some point. I think that would be kind of an interesting experience for the two of us. What? Oh, I see.
It's just the safe room.
Wait.
Oh, you just walk back and forth.
Confusing?
What's the note?
Servant's note number 4. When Master Kane left his office this morning, I snuck in to clean up his mess. It's my job, after all. But then I saw his desk, covered in papers, emblazoned with names. So many names, I could see the names of our neighbors, the ones who had been taken away. And then at the very bottom of the list, my own name. I could think I could be in terrible danger, but Note ends abruptly.
So this person was sending them away?
Personal diary. Oh, it's just like a key item. Nuts. So my bet is that the master of this mansion was more or less... you know how during World War II, there would be the, Jews and the gypsies and whatever that would try and sell out their own neighbors for personal gain or sanctuary?
Why would the servant be dispatched? Because I could understand if maybe this guy was trying to weed out people that sympathized with the Cold Bloods.
But I think madness takes many forms. So during the American Red Scare, yeah, people would give out names for a plethora of reasons, and I mean, judging by the way things have gone, and the fact that the dude potentially
that was when people believed that everyone was a communist.
Pretty much, yeah. But like, assuming that people had like some reason to suspect or have a beef against somebody else, it would not be uncommon for like a neighbor to report someone else, or just random strangers that looked at each other.
Also goes back to that
funny.
whole Salem thing where if people spoke out against the girls that were
Yeah.
having people being witches, they were going to be the next one.
Yeah, that stuff is always particularly screwed up. And this is why I get all of those keys. Sweet,
I'm really
sweet
glad
loot.
that at the end of that fiasco, I think it was the judge in Boston was like, we're not going to include spectral evidence.
Yeah.
In
But
any
unfortunately,
future cases.
the town itself more or less had free reign to do whatever it wanted because there wasn't a whole lot of, like, societal oversight on small towns at that point, because...
But didn't they hang, what was it, 20 people or more?
Yeah, the death count, the body count is a lot lower than you'd think it would be, considering how infamous it is. But they did end up killing a number of people.
And then, of course, they were all pardoned afterwards, but,
It's still not okay. It's like, well, you're dead, but turns out you're innocent, sorry.
Like, I think they gave all the families money or something as compensation,
enough.
but that's not anything.
Yeah, it's not okay with wrongfully executing somebody based on religious fervor and, I mean, witch hunting. Especially when, you know...
And the girls confessed to be liars, and then
Yep.
they went back to more lies, and then they're, ugh.
Oh, that's where this was. This
Because they were just doing
sucks.
it as a prank. It's
Was it
just-
specifically a prank, or... Because the thing is, like, how many really crappy high school girls did you ever have to deal with? You had to deal with a couple. You had that one girl that, You might as well tell this story. I doubt people are going to...
Oh.
Yeah.
You mean, well, the thing is, everything started in elementary school.
So?
Okay, well, she was one of my better friends. And there was this one instance where... Okay, so her cat was vicious. His name was Figaro. He was this fluffy Persian, and, you know, you'd want to pet him, but he would run under the nearest article of furniture and hiss and scratch like nothing else. And knowing animals, I just said, you know what? He's not a sociable cat. I'll just leave him alone. But this girl would pick him up at every opportunity, and he clearly didn't like it. But one day we were playing in the basement, and there was this plastic box, and she's like, oh, let's put Figaro in the box. I'm like, I don't know about this. I mean, Figaro's an animal. Can't he suffocate in there? And she's like, nah, it'll be just fine. So she picks up Figaro, puts him in the box, and then it's time for me to go home. And this was when I was probably in first grade. So I was sent home, and I felt, you know, horrible, because I knew that this cat was probably still in the box. So I told my mom about it. My mom called her mom, and then her mom released Figaro, and then probably scolded her. So several years later, in, I think it was junior year of high school, I was in the same class as her, and at that point we hadn't been friends since probably late elementary school, because I realized that she would just like to get people into trouble and then backstab them, or it was one of those things where she'd make you retaliate and then tattle on you, that kind of deal. So in this one course in English, we were supposed to write a little essay or a short story about some sort of moral decision that we had to partake in, that we, or like some act that we felt guilty about. And so she wrote the story, except instead of her putting Figaro in the box, it was me. Granted, she didn't name me by name, but still, I was reading the story in class, and I'm thinking to myself, oh no, it's this story. And she's playing herself as the hero. So in her version, she's the one that tells her mother about the Figaro being in the box. And it was just, I really just wanted to go up to the teacher at some point and tell her that the story was fake, a fallacy, that the circumstances were completely reversed. But I figured at that point, the girl had already stooped so low. She couldn't really think of anything else controversial in life, and she had to change the tune of the story. Is that the story you're thinking of?
Yep, that was the exact story.
What did this have to do with what we were talking about before? Just
witch
mean
hunting.
girls?
And, well, we're talking about, like, witch hunting and girls that would do anything more or less for attention.
That wasn't necessarily for attention, though. It was an assignment, but she made herself look like the
Exactly.
hero of the tale.
But, like, I haven't actually seen the movie Mean Girls, but I assume there's a degree of the same mentality in it. You know, just the...
It was really just Lindsay Lohan's character trying to be a popular girl, but the popular girls sought to, you know, increase their own standing in the school and pretty much trample anyone else.
Well, is there much of a difference between, you know, that and witch hunting, really, after a certain point?
No, because people don't believe them.
Depending. I mean, there's a fair amount of, like,
I mean, I
shit you can get away with.
I suppose my one friend, who, she was in kindergarten at a special school. It was like a Montessori school. There were these 3 girls, there was like 2 or 3 girls. And because there was more than one of them, if they had a beef with her, they would all 3 of them tattle on her for things that she never did. And the teachers would believe them because, you know, not strength in numbers per se, but corroborating voices.
It's easier to believe 3 people than 1.
Right. And so because it was always her word against them, she was constantly being sent to the principal's office for either calling them names or punching them or who knows what. And one day, you know, the girls tried pulling the same stunt again, except there was like a substitute teacher that had been overseeing the class, and she noticed that nothing had happened. And she says, you know, these girls are tattling on her for no reason. And then the principal and the normal teacher put 2 and 2 together and realized that she'd been innocent of every instance that she'd ever gone down to the principal's office.
Mm-hmm.
So they took anything from those girls in the future as just like the boy who cries wolf.
Pretty much.
Kind of deal.
But, like, they got away with a lot, right?
I mean, it was nothing ever truly detrimental to my friend, but...
But they got away with it for a long time. Like, a couple months or weeks at least.
It was part of the reason why she left that school, though I don't know if it would have ended after that 1 year anyway.
Oh, whoops.
Did you leave the area?
Yep. Well, I mean, here, I'll show you why and what happened. Notice how the flag is over to the right?
Yes.
Because there's no indication this is the world map until you go through it. So it just did.
So you're just gonna have to go down and right, or...?
It's not a very far walk. And we're pretty much done with this episode for the day. So we might as well, more or less cut here and see you guys. I fell far. Strong, bad, sad. Actually, that's strong, sad.
Oh, I see. So you go back and up and right.
Yep. It's a little bit confusing level design. Works, though. And pretty much you're not required to fight any of these enemies.
Oh, this one you are, though.
Alright, well...
Secret evil red barrier.
We'll see you guys on the next episode of Hergen Durgen Fergen. The Hergendurg. Burgergendurgs.
Dust and Elysian tale. Right?
Burgergendurgen. Burgergendurgen.